But to not have the defending champs on TV more, I think it's kind of crazy. I mean,
this is a business. And you want to know what? Caitlin Clark is good business. Why is it so hard for you to separate feelings from business?
If you thought that Caitlin Clark derangement syndrome would calm down or go away after her rookie year, think again. Over the past few months, the whining from the Kate haters has only grown louder. Why? Because the Caitlin Clark effect is ready to enter its next phase. WNBA champions and all-stars joined the Indiana Fever just to play alongside her. She's got unprecedented preseason sellouts, and her opponents are upgrading to bigger barns for the herd of Caitlin Clark fans. And to top it all off, Caitlin the Cash Cow's upcoming games will be featured on a record 41 national broadcasts this season, more than any NBA or WNBA team. None of these developments are surprising to those paying attention. It's the biggest open secret in hoops. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA. She's the reason for the league's skyrocketing popularity. You'd think that an entire WNBA ecosystem, which depends on her success, would finally stop the hate, rally around her, and ride this momentum to bigger bank accounts. Nope. Welcome to the WNBA, where players would rather lose without Caitlin than win with her. Over just the past few weeks, Clark derangement syndrome has reached levels so high Elon needs to rescue it from space. They're nitpicking at everything, complaining about her every achievement, and continuing to dismiss her impact based on race. Buckle up, because the latest developments prove one thing. The Kate hate has only just begun, and unfortunately, it looks like it's going to get much worse before it gets better. And I have an idea when that will happen. Let's get into it. But first, subscribe if you think Caitlin winning MVP would cause a tsunami of hater tears. Okay. I'm not going to rehash every insane statistic or record-breaking viewership number Caitlin Clark put up in college, and during her first year in the WNBA, it's all well documented at this point. The key is, everyone already knows how big of a deal she is. Everyone. The players know it, the fans know it, and most importantly, and the reason some people are absolutely losing their minds over this, the owners and broadcasters know it too. To give you an idea, WNBA franchises are making moves specifically because of Caitlin's money magnetism.
And for the first time in history, WNBA games will be played in the United Center. The Chicago Sky will host the Indiana Fever at the UC on Saturday, June 7th, and on Sunday, July 27th. The highly anticipated games will feature Fever star Caitlin Clark against the Sky's very own Angel Reese.
This season, the Chicago Sky and 5 other teams have moved their home games to larger arenas when Caitlin's Indiana Fever are in town. The Sky shifted games from their usual 10,000-seat arena to the 20,000-seat United Center. Washington, Vegas, Dallas, Atlanta, and Connecticut have done the same, moving to NBA-sized venues for Caitlin Clark. And even with the scheduling conflict explanation from the Atlanta Dream, we know every one of those instances was 100% because of Caitlin Clark. We don't even have to speculate. When multiple teams upgrade for one team only, the Fever, Caitlin's influence on their venue changes is as clear as my face before I turned 13. For any player out there still insisting fans are there to watch us too, this is the brutal truth bomb, delivered courtesy of their own teams. And if that wasn't enough proof of Caitlin's impact, the broadcasters ended the conversation for good.
Such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale. The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
The networks are all in on Caitlin. The Fever are slated for 41 nationally broadcasted games this year, which is flat out insane. That's more national TV games than any NBA team got this season. Yes, you heard that right. More than LeBron's Lakers, 39, Steph Curry's Warriors, 36, and even the defending NBA champions, the Celtics, 34. Think about that. A second-year WNBA players team is getting more TV exposure than the most storied franchises in basketball. It speaks volumes about Caitlin's popularity and the demand to watch her play. And we're still not done. We also saw a preseason game featuring Caitlin generate Taylor Swift concert levels of excitement. The Fever scheduled an exhibition against the Brazilian national team at the University of Iowa's arena, bringing Caitlin back to her college stomping grounds. All 15,000 seats sold out within minutes. A WNBA preseason game selling out a major arena in a flash? Unheard of until now. And with the Fever loading up on talent and assembling a roster capable of contending for a championship, you know fans are going to tune in like never before this season. the TV ratings are poised to absolutely skyrocket. This whole phenomenon is, by far, the best thing that's ever happened to the WNBA in terms of growth and exposure. And here's the beautiful part. As much as Caitlin is the star attraction, her shine ends up being shared with other players. Every time Caitlin gets a national TV slot, so do her teammates and her opponents. For example, her college rival Angel Reese will get 5 nationally televised games against Caitlin this season. That's 5 opportunities for Angel and every other player on the court to show millions of fans what they can do. All of this is happening as the league heads into a critical moment. They're about to negotiate their collective bargaining agreement. With all the new eyeballs, sold-out arenas, and merchandise sales, WNBA merchandise was up an astounding 600% last year, the players are likely going to make a lot more money in the near future. Bigger TV deals, more sponsorship, higher salaries. By any rational measure, everyone in the WNBA ecosystem should be thrilled about this, pulling in the same direction and preparing to cut Caitlin a commission check. So why, then, is the toxicity still ramping up? Why do we keep hearing griping and side eyes instead of celebration? It's simple: jealousy. Amazingly, a lot of the pushback is coming from within the league, even from players who should know better. Case in point, Nafisa Collier, one of the WNBA's best players and a leader on the Players Union Executive Committee, recently weighed in on the Fever's hefty TV schedule. Nafisa is a star on a championship-caliber team and even co-founded a new offseason league, Unrivaled, to grow the women's game. You'd expect her to see the forest for the trees here and recognize that Caitlin's popularity benefits everyone. But no. When asked about the Fever having more national TV games than the defending champs, Nafisa said this.
It's 2 things. I mean, obviously people want to watch Caitlin play, and so you have to put the people on TV that people want to see. But at the same time, like, there's stars all over the league, and you want good basketball as well. Obviously, Indiana, especially like with their free agents, they're gonna be a great team. But to not have the defending champs on TV more, I think it's kind of crazy.
Crazy. She said it's crazy that Caitlin has more games than the Liberty. I mean, the Liberty have 32 games. As a proportion of total games, that's higher than any NBA team, and more total national games than the Mavs, Suns, all but 4 NBA teams. But because Caitlin has 41, it's not enough. I mean, would she be happier if the Liberty and Fever both had 2 national broadcasts, because at least then it'd be even? Nafisa basically complained that it was unfair for one team, Indiana, to get so much spotlight, even though, hello, that spotlight is there because of fan demand and economics. Let's be clear, Caitlin's outsized exposure isn't a league conspiracy to slight other players. It's pure economics and common sense. More people want to watch Caitlin Clark play, so networks schedule more Fever games. Period. It's not about disrespecting the defending champions, it's about giving broadcasters and advertisers what they know will draw the largest audience.
It's not the WNBA making these decisions unilaterally and going, we're promoting the Fever and Caitlin Clark above everybody else. Their partners are saying, we want Caitlin Clark on the Fever because more people are going to watch, we can sell more advertising.
But this is what so many players and fans are missing. When the Fever get millions of views, that means unparalleled exposure for all players on the court. Just listen to new Fever player Sydney Colson break it down perfectly.
You anticipate it being like to be part of all these sellouts and being the biggest show on wherever you go now?
I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be remarkable. And what I always thought about when I was on a team that wasn't getting that kind of visibility, whenever you go play the teams that are, that's when you bring your best game. Because now it's all eyes on your team too, and people, hopefully will be tuning into our games and seeing players from other teams that they like, that are exciting, because there are a lot of good players around this league. So I think what we're going to be able to do, what the Aces, the New Yorks, what we're able to do is elevate the game and get people to respect our entire league, not just a few teams.
See, that's the part Nafisa either doesn't realize or just doesn't accept. When teams play the Fever, they're getting the spotlight too. In that sense, the Fever should have the toughest games in the league because every player will want to make a statement in front of the season's largest audience. As Sydney said, that is how the league will grow and other players will get more recognition. Put on a great show, entertain fans, and do your part to build the momentum, not stop it. And yet, time after time, what should be moments of celebration for the league end up being met with a chorus of complaints. Every big announcement seems to come with a side of salt. It's as if some players and pundits simply can't allow Caitlin, and by extension the Fever, to get credit without immediately injecting, but what about parity? What about us? We built this league too. Instead of letting Caitlyn's spotlight fall on them, they're blinded by it.
We watching women's basketball. It's not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
There's this reflexive need to call for equity or remind everyone of the struggle, even when nobody is denying their hard work or that they got the league to a certain point. It's not that these folks necessarily dislike Caitlyn as a person. By most accounts, she's well liked and respected. But they just cannot stand seeing her get so much spotlight, so they feel compelled to rain on the parade. And when it's raining, it's pouring. Right now, it's reaching a point of absurdity. You've even got some self-identified WNBA fans on social media threatening to boycott Caitlyn's games, essentially rooting for low TV ratings when she plays, out of spite. Yes, you heard that correctly. There are WNBA fans saying they'll intentionally not watch and urging others to do the same, just because they resent the attention she's getting. Let that sink in. That is legit insane. Because not only would that fail to diminish Caitlyn's star, newsflash, she's big enough that millions will watch regardless. It would also directly hurt other players by taking away attention and potential revenue from their games. It's the definition of cutting off your nose to spite your face. From talking heads to former players to a certain segment of fans, the narrative that Caitlyn's stardom is somehow unearned or purely a media creation just won't go away. The resentment is palpable. They act like she hasn't delivered the goods and everything has just been handed to her on a silver platter. This is probably the worst example of this I've seen in a while. Check out this post from a journalist who covers women's sports. She went so far as to reduce Caitlyn's achievements to nothing more than the color of her skin. Caitlyn has done nothing but be white. Seriously? All the records, the jaw-dropping stats, the clutch performances, the Einstein basketball IQ, none of that matters apparently, because in their mind it all boils down to her being white. This is not only incredibly disrespectful to Caitlyn, it's disrespectful to fans. As if the only reason people are tuning in is some shallow racial bias, and not the fact that she's an electrifying talent dropping 30-foot bombs every game.
Clark, step back three, knocks it down! But he fell to the aces in 4 games. Clark connects on a 3!
To say Caitlyn has done nothing but be white ignores reality. She literally dragged Iowa to back-to-back NCAA title games, shattered March Madness rating records, then came to the WNBA and led a basement franchise to its first playoffs since 2016 while breaking assist records and playing in front of sellout crowds. That's doing a lot. And frankly, painting all the excitement around her as just blind white favoritism is the kind of toxic take that alienates fans. It discourages new people from embracing the league because it frames the narrative as if enjoying Caitlyn's play somehow means you're dismissing others, which is not true for the vast majority of fans just enjoying the show. And if you want an example of how far the haters will stretch to knock Caitlyn down, look no further than the recent Juju Watkins incident.
Defense from the Trojans, and Watkins goes down hard, and she's grabbing her right knee, quickly grimacing in pain.
Juju Watkins is a rising young star at USC, a sophomore who very sadly tore her ACL during March Madness. Caitlyn Clark, being both a fan of the game and someone who's been in the spotlight, sent Juju a heartfelt public message wishing her a speedy recovery and encouraging her to come back stronger. She said, "Sending all my thoughts and prayers to Juju. Kid will come back stronger than ever." A classy move, right? Just simple sportsmanship and empathy for a fellow athlete. Well, you won't believe this. People actually tried to twist that into a negative. The criticism? Caitlyn referred to Juju, who is younger than her, a teenager, as a kid in the message.
So what?
And some detractors on social media jumped on that, accusing Caitlyn of being racist or condescending by calling a young black player kid. I'm not kidding. A genuinely kind gesture was contorted into another opportunity to brand Caitlyn as somehow disrespectful or worse.
And I'm here to tell you, those comments has sparked a debate online, a stupid debate, over Caitlyn Clark referring to Juju Watkins as a kid. Now I'll be here to tell you, if she's older than her, she is a kid to her. She's older than her. Just like people refer to Caitlyn Clark as a kid. We didn't see many time analysts on ESPN. We get no criticism about it.
This is peak insanity. Kid is a pretty normal, affectionate term to use for someone younger who you're offering encouragement to. I mean, they still call NHL star Sidney Crosby Sid the Kid, and he's 37. Anyone who actually watched Caitlyn's interviews knows she's called herself a kid from Iowa plenty of times. There was zero ill intent. But the professional and amateur haters will find anything and I mean anything, to try to knock her. It's like they're waiting on a hair trigger to spin a new outrage cycle. It's exhausting, and we're just observers. Imagine how it feels for Caitlyn herself. Here's the kicker. It's probably going to get worse, at least in the short term. Why? Because Caitlyn is not slowing down, and neither is the hype. She's now had an offseason to rest up, train, and come back even stronger for year 2. By all accounts from training camp, she's stronger and more energized, ready to take another leap in her game. And she's got something she's never had before in her career, a stacked team around her.
Helped guide Connecticut to the semifinals where they've been each of the last 5 years, and Bonner.
And Sutton forcing that turnover. Oh, nice step through, dropping the rookie.
For the first time, Caitlyn isn't being asked to single-handedly carry a squad with heroics every night. The Fever front office went out and brought in championship experience and veteran talent to support her. We're talking about players who are excited to play with her, not resentful of her spotlight.
And so our team is looking really, really good right now. And we're all just kind of excited to actually get together and get working out. But when you have someone like Caitlyn, she's a generational, maybe a one-time player to kind of graze our sport. I think that we've had a lot of great players, but with all the new eyes and the social media presence and our games being aired on TV, I just think she, and some of the other rookie class members too, they just carried our game to a whole new level. And this is something that we've always wanted. And so just
to watch what Caitlyn did for this franchise from afar, different perspective.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you're seeing a team that's now like affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
You've been studying.
That enthusiasm and respect is infectious. You can see it in how these vets talk about Caitlyn. They know how special she is, and they want to be a part of it rather than fight against it. And guess what? With this bolstered roster, the Fever have a real shot at making serious noise. If Caitlyn could drag Indiana to the playoffs with minimal help, imagine what she might do with multiple All-Stars by her side. It's very possible the Fever will be must-see TV not just for Caitlyn's individual brilliance, but for exciting, fast-paced, high-quality basketball.
Samuelson, nice pass there to Clark. Clark behind the back. Oh, it's Smith with the finish. Brilliant.
Record numbers of fans are going to tune in to watch this. Don't be surprised if we come back here mid-season talking about how her games are averaging 2 to 3 million viewers on ABC or CBS, which would shatter WNBA records. In fact, go ahead and bookmark this. I predict we'll see unprecedented viewership for regular season women's basketball games this year, all centered on Caitlyn's appearances. But, and here's the unfortunate truth, as the ratings rise and the wins pile up, the complaints will also likely pile up from the usual suspects. Those who have been begrudging her acclaim will only become more bitter seeing her, and by extension the league, succeed beyond what they ever thought possible. I mean, do they understand what would happen to the WNBA without her?
Is a big problem. She's the biggest star in this league by so much. She is bigger than the league. We can be honest. The WNBA is on a growth trajectory. But if Caitlyn Clark blows out her knee, touch wood, nothing happens. If she blows out her knee and it's not just a one-year thing, let's just say completely blows out her knee, career's done. It will take the WNBA 10 to 15 years to get back to the point that they're at right now.
We just saw what happened with Juju Watkins. We're all hoping that she makes a full recovery and comes back better than ever. Not just for her sake, but because she would bring serious buzz to the WNBA that, even if not on par with Caitlyn's, would create excitement not directly tied to Caitlyn Clark. Nafisa and other players are right that this is a league, and there are a lot of great players, but it only has one star capable of drawing casual fans right now. Without Caitlyn, even for a short stretch, the league would suffer. You'd even see Fever games dip in viewership significantly. Hopefully, we'll never have to prove her impact this way, but it's something haters should realize and, maybe, take a moment to appreciate. Because, let's be honest, one season isn't enough time for all those casual Caitlyn fans to suddenly become diehard fans of other WNBA players or teams. That transition takes time and multiple seasons of investment. So yeah, in a sense, she's carrying a huge weight of the league's growth on her shoulders right now.
I just think she's had a lot of pressure on her shoulders, and I think a lot of people, no one's walked in her footsteps, and so it's really easy to judge and to say things, but at the end of the day, we all need to empower each other and be there for each other. I think she's done a lot, not only her, but that rookie class. They've brought a lot of attention to our league, and it's needed. Like, this is what we've always wanted, and so why would we not embrace them and make sure they're good? And so,
remember when I said there will be a time when the hate diminishes? I think it'll happen when the Jujus and Paiges and other young stars come in with their own buzz and draw crowds without Caitlin Clark. When the buzz is distributed to other players because they have earned the attention of fans on their own merit, the league and probably Caitlin's sanity will be in a much better place. Hopefully, we get there sooner than later. For now, understanding that one player is the focal point, imagine if everyone, players, coaches, media, fans, embraced this moment collectively. Imagine a league where rather than side-eyeing the phenomenon, the players and media work together to support each other and amplify the spotlight. Rivalries on the court? Absolutely. We want that competitive fire and even some heated moments. That's what makes sports worth watching. But off the court, you'd hope for a unified front to sell the league's greatness. The WNBA could be poised for massive mainstream success in the next decade if they played it that way. We're talking about new teams, more games, bigger TV ratings, more lucrative sponsorships, and star power that attracts even non-basketball fans. Yet you get the sense that pride and envy are leading some to almost root against that rapid growth. It's like the team of players who won a championship but feel unsatisfied because one of them didn't get to take the final shot, focusing on individual pride over the collective victory. Some of these players and commentators behave as if it will always feel a bit empty for them if the league blows up with Caitlin as the figurehead. They'd seemingly prefer a slow, hard grind of growth that they can attribute to the group rather than a skyrocketing ascent with Caitlin leading the charge.
It seems like they just want to continue to be, a lot of these players want it to continue to be a charity case where it's all about equality, where it's not about basketball. It's not about basketball, it's not about business. That's the thing with these sports leagues. The reason why players are going to get paid so much money is what I always say, it's a business at the end of the day.
I would love to sit here and tell you that this attitude will change, that seeing full arenas and bigger paychecks will win everyone over in time. But if this preseason and offseason have taught us anything, it's that we're in for another year of Caitlin's incredible success and a whole lot of jealousy and side drama coming with it. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is lifting the WNBA to new heights. You can either jump on board and enjoy the ride and prosper from it, or you can stay bitter on the sidelines while the train leaves the station without you. If you've stuck around this long, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Drop a basketball emoji down below to let me know you're here. Subscribe for more WNBA updates. Thanks for watching.